Hey everybody, I'm Lightstone. I am so excited for our first official podcast for the Stone Protocol show. So I have Yovel Peretz here, who is the founder and the CEO of Let's Do Podcast. And so I felt that it would be fitting for our first show to have my new friend and business partner join us today. We are going to cover a bunch of different things. We're going to talk about entrepreneurship, podcasting, the power of voice and video as it goes through the ether to hopefully inspire people. We're going to talk about Israel. We're going to talk about Nazis. We're going to talk about all sorts of crazy shit. We're talk about Michael, the archangel, Yahweh, a cult, all sorts of things. And these are the type of things that you should expect to receive and listen to on this podcast. But the important thing is we're going to do it from a place of heart and a place of compassion. You may not agree with everything that you hear. I may not agree with everything that I hear from my guests and my other guests. For example, we have scheduled down the line a good friend of mine, Matt Patrick. He's the pastor of the Well Church here in Boulder. It's a very conservative Baptist church. I believe that Yovel and Matt are going to disagree on their opinions. They're both not in the room, and maybe we'll have a roundtable at some point. But you, the listener, you are going to be able to hear these different opinions and then come to your own decision. All I ask of you is to have an open heart and an open mind, and I will model this for you. I'm going to be interviewing people all across the spectrum, but every single one of my guests, I am going to necessitate, and I talked to them beforehand, that they have that open heart and open mind. They can have a very strong opinion because these are very important topics, but when we discuss them, we will do it from a place of camaraderie and companionship, that we are all fellow humans here trying to make the world a better place. And it is my understanding and why I've partnered with Yovel that is his intention around Let's Do Podcast. But maybe you can talk a little bit more about why you've made this company.
Yeah, so I love the intro. That was really good intro. So it's a great question about Let's Do Podcast. When I finish my service, I start my own podcast back in Israel. That the goal was to bring the successful stories of the people that never shared them. And then I start my podcast. It's called Business Against All Odds. It's mainly in Hebrew. There is one episode in English that I interview the best businessmen in Israel. Then when I came here, I wanted to do something big in my life, to change the world, to make some impact. The best way of me making that is to be a king and queen maker. In the end, I'm alone, cannot reach out for billions of people. But while I'm doing putting people like you, that you have the potential to reach out to 1 billion people, when I'm making you a king maker, and I'm making you a king by me being a king maker, and I'm making other people that working with us a king and queen makers, I am unstoppable. And the same moment, my clients become unstoppable. And we putting a real impact on the world. Like in the last 5 months, we reach out for more than 200 million people. Only in the first week of January, we already reached for more than 10 million people. And the goal is for this year is to reach out for 1 billion people and to give real impact for people. And maybe, to help and save people's life and to make the world better place for our children.
Yeah, I think we have to. And you don't have children yet, right?
No.
So I have an 8-year-old, and you are married, though, is my understanding, correct?
And I have a puppy.
You have a puppy, like a child, yeah. Questionably trained. I'm going to continuously give you a hard time about your dog. We had sometimes when the dog is here, I have boundary stuff with dogs, and so it's been a thing. You will encounter this viewer as the show goes on.
It's important to say that she is a dachshund, and dachshund controlling us, not we controlling them.
I will teach you how to control your dog, I promise, in a good, loving way. So when we have children, our entire perspective changes. And I think that you can see that already with your dachshund and with your wife. And I think every day I spend a lot of time thinking about the state of the world and how my daughter will enter into this environment once she leaves the umbrella of my protection. And she already has, but she's still close to daddy and daddy has her protection. But I, like every father, think about this quite often. So from this vein and just protecting yourself and, for you protecting your nation, you served in Israel in the military, correct? It's one of the things, honestly, that I was really drawn to about, to have that level of discipline and dedication. And it also has been a point of contention in our country. And so I know that it's kind of a challenging thing to talk about, but I think that it's so important for me as an American, and I have a pretty significant portion of Jewish ancestry, biological, genealogical. And so I and many other Americans and Jewish Americans and Christian Americans too, I also grew up Christian, were really conflicted about this. And I haven't yet found a lot of people having open dialogue and I think probably the noise rises to the surface, the discord does,
I agree.
having, really good conversation about it. And so just first and foremost, would love to just hear a little bit about your experience there. And we won't dwell on this for too long, but I would be remiss to not, I think, just acknowledge that. And then also like pay homage. My ex-wife was part of the military as well. And she also did not agree with all the things that she did. And yet she served her country and still does in the National Guard. And I think that it's an important thing to acknowledge and show respect for.
So we can connect that to the fatherhood as well. When I joined the military, my father took me for a call like 10 seconds before I go into the bus and told me the nature of the world, that is a son bury a father, not a father bury a son. Like, be safe. In the end, you can see like only in the last 2 years how many sons got buried by their fathers because of the war.
Yeah.
When I've been in the military, I joined the military. I went to special forces. You did the training. It was how much? It was 16 to 18 months training around that time to be the best version of yourself, the best soldier, to be trained to do everything that you need to do in the best way, in the best case scenario. Then when we start to do some operation, and it's funny because I talk with American Ranger, American Marines, they doing the same operation that we're doing in Israel. They're doing that all over the world. That's something really important to touch. I fought 15 minutes drive from the home I grew up.
So wild.
I didn't fought 15 hours flight or 2 weeks in airplane carry in the sea. I fought 15 minutes drive.
Yeah. So I think American military, sorry, I just kicked Yovel under the table by accident. That was not a secret code. American military, we have I used to train a lot on military bases as a military dependent. Would talk to flag officers, which are basically like 2 and 3 star generals and admirals a lot. I think they liked that I was fit and not part of the military so they could be friends with me. We have no concept really of what you just said, to actually be fighting on our homeland 15 minutes away from one's home. My friends in the military, you get on an airplane and you fly, and you usually sleep on that flight because it's 15 hours by a large cargo plane, and then you land into a base that is now a military compound, and then you get trucked off into a location or airdropped into a location, and it is so far removed from one's daily life. I think of where I grew up in Acton, Massachusetts, and it was literally where the shot heard round the world was, in Concord, Mass, where I grew up, and that's where the Revolutionary War was. I don't know how familiar you are with American history, but this is when we revolted against the British over some tea and some bad taxes. They got really upset about 3% and 2% taxes, guys. We're paying like up to 50% now. So something to be mindful of. How does that change your perspective then on what war is and what that conflict looks like?
That's a great question. So the best thing to say that if now someone will come to your home, try to hurt your daughter, you will do everything to protect them.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm doing, what we're doing every day. Israel is there is like walls all around Israel because people wants to protect their family. Israel is IDF, Israel Defense Forces. Need to understand what it means. Israel Defense Forces. In the last, I think, 80 years, was the country that happened the most amount of wars. All of the wars, Israel never started.
Yeah.
Never started a one war. It's because we are defense forces. We are only focusing about defense. When I was on the border, I knew that, in 7th of October, there was terrorists that was like walk distance from my home, like in a couple of minutes. It's not like you need to walk like 2 hours. And that's around, like if you're walking from my home to Gaza, it's like around 2 hours, maybe less.
Yeah.
Okay. And people doesn't understand that we are in danger all the time.
Yeah.
When there is other side people that just want to kill you.
Right.
And there was so many peace agreements on the table all during the years. And even Qatar and Abu Dhabi was supporting of that peace agreement. But the people over there declined them. When Egypt and Jordan decide to do peace, see what's happened to them. They start to strive because they stopped focusing about killing. They was focusing about thriving. Israel is a young country, but I think she is number 2 in the most amount of startup in the world.
Yeah.
It's the only place in the all the Middle East that there is no like nature resource.
Mhm.
Okay, we always say that the Israel of people walk 40 years in the desert to find the only place in the Middle East that there is no
Yeah, right.
no gas and oil.
Maybe they had a bad guide. Sorry, that's a Moses, my Moses joke.
Yeah.
I can already feel through the ethers that some of my friends and listeners, even with this amount of conversation that we're having about Israel, their hackles are starting to rise because it is such a charged topic. And so I'm going to say again, on this podcast, we're going to have other people's views that you may not agree with, and that's okay. And if I can gift you as the host of this show anything, it's another perspective, and I would encourage you to sit in whatever discomfort you may have about these topics and really reflect on that. And I know that you can hear propaganda from Instagram, and I'm not even saying it's right. Even in my mind, I'm thinking of like natural resources. Well, a lot of those natural resources are coming from American or tax-paying dollars. That's not necessarily wrong, and it's a larger conversation that in time we can and will have. But the only way, in my personal opinion, to be able to actually build true camaraderie and brothership and sistership and fellowship is to have these conversations and to hear from people who actually have been there, which he has been there. And before I agreed to even do this podcast with this company, one of the questions that I asked him, which was something that we hear all the time in America, is about headshots and body shots on children in this war. And I was like, Yovel, you got to tell me, like you got to have this make sense to me. I don't understand this. And it's being used as a cudgel to hammer into us these words like genocide and these horrible things. And again, we're going to shift the podcast. We're going to stop talking about Israel in a second, but I just kind of want to have this conversation because I think it is so powerful and so important. And what you told me, not about the genocide piece, but about the headshots and body shots, I think is really important for people to hear because these are literally what you saw with your own eyes.
Yes. So I have like three stuff about that. So first, we never shoot, we never kill, we never will do innocent people. We are put any IDF soldier, even me, like even in a, like, yes, I told you about the sparring I did with the world champion. When he like in the end just put his hands down, I told him, just eat me, like eat me. And I told him, I can't eat you if there is no reason.
Yeah.
Like if I will not feeling threatened all my life, I will not be able to give you 100% something. The same moment in Gaza, we will shoot innocent people. The amount of time that terrorists shoot on us and put the children in front of them, that's unstoppable. The same moment, I always say to people, why are you so focusing about Israel?
Mm-hmm.
In Israel, in the last 2 years, 60,000 people dead. Okay, 20,000 of them Hamas declare it's Hamas terrorists. Okay, 20,000 of them is from war. There is around between 3,000 to 5,000 Israeli that died. Okay, we're already 25. Then innocent people, around 5,000, let's say, because in 2 years of 1.5 to 2 million people population, is need to be dead between 7.5 to 8,000 people from people becoming old.
Yeah.
So then you see the amount of people that died there in innocent, and there is mistakes. Let's understand that in especially in war, it's messy. In business, there is mistakes. In the gym, there is mistake. So
not me. I haven't made any mistakes in the gym in a very long time. I'm very careful with my rotator cuffs now at 40 years old. But that's because we learned by making mistakes in our past.
And I'm sure that all our listeners did some mistakes in that area or the other. So just understand, to make mistake in war is but 0.001.
Yeah.
You're doing that mistakes. It's like we almost died from IDF mistakes that we're doing, but that's price that you need to make to understand when you want going to war. The same moment I always say to people, why are you focusing about Israel so much? In Yemen, in the last 2 years, more than 500,000 people died. The estimate until 2030, more than 6 million people will die from people killing each other because it's the Houthim, the terror organization, killing everyone. In Iran, every day people shoot in the street. In 1 week, more people died than all the war in Israel happening in the last 2 years.
So you bringing up Iran is really interesting. There's someone I'd like to have on the podcast. His name is Giorgiani. I've read 2 of his books. His newest book, stenosis, I believe it's called. I'll have to look it up. I can put it in the show notes. I have it on my desk. I haven't read it yet. I'm going to read it and then reach out to him and invite him to the podcast. He speaks about these things so eloquently, and he will have another opinion. It's very similar to what you're saying. It's a very, very, very interesting, complex geopolitical perspective that also is layered with mysticism and occult, and gravimetric space travel. And this all actually makes sense when you think about Operation Paperclip and how we inherited and or press ganged and or were infiltrated, however you want to look at this, from Nazi scientists after World War II. And they then became part of the American government and the American industrial complex and military industrial complex, and a breakaway civilization potentially on Mars and the moon. So you can see now in the podcast where we're kind of getting into some of the conspiracy theory things. We can hold these as ideas and then bring it back to reality of what's happening now. But I just want to kind of put a pin in Giorgiani, amazing thinker, and we'll be able to talk about these things. And when we take the attention, if we are basically told to focus on something like Israel, like, some war here, there's actually a lot of other things happening in our geopolitical spectrum, like right now in Venezuela, that then can be used as distraction tactics to prevent the American population from actually being aware of what's happening politically throughout the entirety of the world. Also as a distraction from things like the Epstein files. And again, we'll get into these things. These are topics that I find to be very, very, very passionate. I think maybe for now, we sunset this. I wanted to bring this up in the beginning of the conversation because as my understanding, your military experience then led you into podcasting. And so I wanted to kind of ground that in you. And that's very unique for a younger man to have that very intense experience and then say, wow, okay, I have been around killing, involved in killing. I mean, it was a professional soldier, so that involves very intense situations. And now I'm doing a complete shift. It could be a professional warfighter if you wanted, special forces. And instead of saying, no, I want to create, I like the word prism, but I want to create a way for people to get that information out for the betterment of the human race, which to me, I find like so incredibly inspiring. Like, yes, brother, like high five,
oh, yeah.
Like 100%. And so what was that transition like from you of seeing the hardship of war 15 minutes from your home and then deciding, you know what, I'm going to do something completely different than that?
That's a great question. First, I will start with the meaning I did everything in my life. I always wanted to change the world, to make the world a better place. So when I was younger, I was like, when everyone went to summer vacation, when I was 15, I went to do a basketball coach course. Okay, my parents, that so grateful to have them in my life, they paid on my basketball course coach. And I worked for 2 years between 16 to 17 before I joined the military as to be a coach. I trained young people like age of 6, 7 children. And I arrived to position that the parents tell me what to tell them because they listened only to me.
Oh, interesting.
Because I become a friend of them. I understand what they need.
I was a camp counselor. I had the same thing. So I had parents like feeding me. Can you get them to like eat their vegetables? Not that, but like that.
Please do homework.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's so funny.
And from that moment, I understand I want to do something in education. Then I joined the military. Like, that's always was on the table to join the military. And it always was a part of me. When I become closer to that, it become like a passion because I understand that it's my generation. It's now my turn. We always say every time there's a generation gets switched, it's your turn to protect your family. And unfortunately, as you know about the history of the Jewish, everyone once in a while there is something I try to kill the Jew. And it's first time there is a Jewish country that you can feel safe. So that was my commitment to go protect and give 3, 4, 5 years from my life to protect the place that Jewish need to feel safe. Okay. Fortunately, it's not happening because all the terror attack is happening all the time. And the wars and all that stuff. And I would say to people, the last thing I'm going to say about Israel right now is Israel is the biggest assets of United States of America. And I talk with people that really hate Jew, really hate Israel, and I will talk with everyone about everything. And I will not get upset. My voice will stay like that. I have every time debates with people about Israel. And I always love that because I think first we are people. Like there is no war between people, there is war between countries.
Mhm.
So like you and me, even we have different opinion, there is no war between us. Like we can disagree, but there is so much stuff that we can agree about, and we can still be friends about like, and that's okay. Friendship is need to be able to talk with stuff that you don't agree with.
Yeah. Otherwise, there's literally no way to bridge gaps. It is physically impossible. Really funny. Just to kind of comment on that. When I told a good friend of mine, I've been literally waiting, and like, dear listener, waiting years to start a podcast. And so when I started telling my friends, okay, I'm finally doing it, they're like, thank God, Jesus, why do you take so long? I had a lot of healing after my divorce and cancel culture. I needed to really find myself and heal before I put myself back out there. But one of my friends, I said, hey, I'm working with this amazing Israeli team. Very cool, former special forces. He goes, oh, so you're working for a Mossad propaganda arm in America. And I was like, wow, what an interesting concept that is that you have.
Yeah, just to make understand, I'm the only one that Israeli in my team. Yehuda know Hebrew, but he was in Israel like 3 years.
Right.
But like I'm the only Israeli in my team. Most of my team, they are American, they are Christian.
Right.
So it's funny.
But it's so fascinating to me that is where people's heads go, right? And I'm on social media all the time. I consume a lot of information to be able to then have an opinion that is relevant, and I enjoy it. But that is how powerful the propaganda is right now. That you hear the term Israel and maybe military and then Mossad, and then if there is a podcasting group that then would have to be a propaganda machine having infiltrated America, and that is like where our society is right now. And so my answer to him was, I really don't think so. I don't think so. But I said, but if it is, then I've infiltrated. I'm going to be a double agent. Like I'm in, bro. I've infiltrated the infiltrator, and as a being of love and light, we will, I will turn it towards goodness. But I said, but I'm pretty sure he is actually a really great guy. So I don't think that you are, a propaganda machine.
Maybe I am. I'm kidding.
Oh, maybe I am. Right. We can be quadruple agents. I love it. We're on the team of we'll be on the team of the archangels. So either way,
and that's exactly like what I will tell you about Let's Do Podcast. Let's Do Podcast. All the meaning of Let's Do Podcast is to make the world a better place. Again, I think our model is the most successful model. We are the only company doing everything for everyone. We are willing to give more. I think what we take and what we give, it's by far more what we give. I never had a client that complains about the service. I have clients that the only clients that stop working with us is because they move a state. So in 5 years from now, we're going to be all around the USA, so people will not have any the excuses.
As a nice pitch, so Yehuda, one of the other team members and one of the studio managers here, I work very hard. I love what I do, and I'm 40 now, so I've some accumulated time. Hopefully, I wear 40 well. Regardless, I have some experience, and so there were some ways that I wanted to interact with the team a little bit better. And I said, hey, here are kind of some of the issues that I'm seeing. Like, how can we fix this? Yehuda got back to me like a day and a half with a fucking fix on Monday.com, your guys' back end, and we can even like talk about this just for a second of kind of productivity and protocols, which is a big thing for the Stone Protocol. So this was very cool from an entrepreneur perspective. We're going to be making a shit ton of content together. I'm very excited about it, ranging from a bunch of different topics. We're going to be going out with a couple of my other friends, including Duff Daddy, Benjamin, exactly, another friend of mine, Max. And so we're going to have Max is 20. I think his last video got like 12, maybe 15 million views.
Wow.
So cool. He's a fitness influencer, primarily on TikTok. Max is a great guy. So shout out to Max. Your peptides are coming, sir. He's been asking, I got him some peptides recently. He's been texting me a lot about them. He's very excited. He's natural. He does not do anabolic steroids. Max does not. I do. And then he's 20. And then Ben, Duff Daddy, is 29. So we'll just round to 30. And I'm 40. So we're going to have kind of 3 different decades going out and interviewing people about all sorts of cool stuff. Relationship dynamics between Gen Z and millennials. And then we're going to be talking about things like just different religion aspects and just what is meaningful in life, and less of like the cheater apps on the phones, which you see a lot of, which is, I don't know, good for clicks, I guess, but a little bit more wholesome in my opinion. And so with all this content, I went to Yehuda and I was like, hey, I think we're gonna need a better kind of pipeline to make this make sense. I don't think you have anyone quite as, cuckoo pants as me to actually do this much content. So this is kind of a new thing for you guys. Here are the issues that I'm seeing. How do we fix this? And he then got back to me within days with an amazing ticketing system.
Yeah, we'll work on that.
Yeah, I was really impressed. I don't know, I guess maybe take a moment, and one of the things I want to talk about for entrepreneurship, just for listeners, there will definitely be a lot of entrepreneurs that listen to this podcast. What is it like for you growing now this company, starting quite small? My understanding is you have not taken any outside investment, which is fucking awesome. And your prices are very reasonable. So you're like playing with a budget, and then being able to pivot really quickly. I guess just like tell us a little bit more about that.
That's a great question. So I think first, when you starting a business, you need first to understand why. I'm not selling how I'm doing stuff. I'm selling why I'm doing stuff. I will never say, we're gonna do that. No, you need to first to be connected to our why. If you are not connected to our why, and we have a huge, I can send that for you just to read. It's something for the team that they have why we're doing what we're doing, why we're doing that. Why we're doing the sales, how we're doing the sales, and what we're selling to. Like everything is based on the why, because I really believe, and there is start with the why of Simon Sinek, I think.
Yep.
And he really explained that really good. How we can build organization with explaining the why, because that's what's keeping the company running. Same moment, I have that's my dream from when I am 14 to change the world, and I know that I'm going to do it in that way or other. I'm going to do it. Let's Do Podcast is the way of me getting to millions of hundreds of billions of people in the next years. And I know we'll never take a podcast if we don't support the cause. Yeah. Okay, that's something that's important to understand. I will never say yes to a client, doesn't matter. And I say a couple of clients no, because I didn't believe what they're selling.
Yeah.
Like some clients was really against everything that I believe in.
Yeah.
And I told them I love you, but I cannot.
Did they not like dachshunds or?
No, there was the clients I said to them no. It was most of the time clients that was against that really against spiritual stuff.
Okay.
Really against religions.
Sure.
Really supporting all the kind of drugs and stuff like that. And it's happened twice in my life. Yeah. It's just was sitting with them and I felt you can tell. It's not the right fit.
Yeah.
And it's important to me that when people doing something and we're doing for them and we're promoting all our podcasts, we're helping, and all our podcasts are able to do collaboration with us whenever they want. Yeah. And that's what we're growing the social media. We're putting so much attention on social media for that.
Yeah.
It's because we believe that if podcast working with us, it needs to be the same. We need to believe in the same base values.
Did you have a chance to listen to the Akira the Dawn song that I sent you this morning? You maybe didn't have time.
No, so this morning I'm from 6 a.m. until now.
He's been working a lot, so it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
So Akira the Dawn, for those of you who don't know, I would like to consider him an online friend. We go back and forth in text. He's an amazing musical producer. And he will take podcasts actually and online talks of people, and he will mix them with just fucking awesome beats.
Oh, yeah.
It's so good. And so he's done a bunch of people that and the one that I'm speaking to specifically now is called Wave, and it's with Jordan Peterson. He talks about basically how longform, and Jordan Peterson is talking about this, and it maybe came out 5-6 years ago, how long form content, the podcast and the vlog or the video podcast, which is for those of you who are going to be watching, can watch us and see us, that we now can metabolize information from these long form content sources in a new way that was physically impossible. It literally did not exist historically. And there was a revolution that I can't remember, but it's basically the printing press. Jordan Peterson's probably would be rolling his eyes, be like, dude, you're misquoting me. But when this revolution of the printing press happened, now books were, instead of having to be, actually handwritten by Gregorian monks, they actually put the blocks down and boom, and now we can mass produce books, and people were then able to actually read. if they could read books. And so what Jordan Peterson here is saying is that we are now in this new postmodern, podcast revolution where we're able to have a conversation. And previously, if you wanted to reach that large audience, you had to go on news, and you might get 30 seconds if you were normal. And I've been on the news, and I had about a minute and a half. It was on Fox News. I just released my first book, and we talked about the military, and we talked about my fantasy novel. And I remember being like, the news anchor, who was fantastic, and she had like a bunch of other people lined up. She was like, okay, dude, you've got a minute and a half, like, know what you want to say. This is like your moment to shine. And then another person's going to be in your seat. And I remember being like, oh my God. It was very nice. And what Jordan Peterson is talking about is we now have this opportunity to have a real conversation. And with the printing press revolution, it required people to be able to read to actually receive that information.
Yeah.
But now everyone can listen, and we can translate it too. So this is like the perfect time to change the world through this type of medium.
In the same moment, everyone say that you are the average of the closest 5 friends.
Yeah.
There is someone named Chris Williams, Modern Wisdom, that say you are the average of the 5 podcasts that you listen to.
Oh, I love that. That's so good.
Because in the end, we are speaking what we learn, what we hear.
Yeah.
We are doing what we learn and what we hear.
Yeah.
Or what we read.
Yeah.
And this is why, I don't remember who say that, but it say, I think Dan Martell. He have amazing book, Buy Back Your Time. That's if anyone wants to start hire people, they need to start with that book.
Yeah.
Buy Back Your Time, really simple book to read, really fun to read, but give you exactly how to hire the right people and to do it right without wasting so much money. And I think that's one of the reasons that I am able to do that, because I build an organization that based on the why. So everyone I am choosing right now, I invest in more money in them to be able to see them as the future manager that I want them to be.
Yeah.
The same moment, I'm still working for other people because I can leave tomorrow morning only for my business. But the only question, if I want to take the cash flow that's running in the business and not to reinvest in the business, so I'm still working as a personal assistant for a billionaire. So I'm getting from him so much knowledge about his business, about life, about the way I need to live.
You're getting paid to learn from him. Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
No, not kind of.
Yeah.
Literally.
I'm getting paid for, yeah.
You're still working, but that's an apprenticeship.
Yeah.
It's a paid apprenticeship.
And I getting paid most of it, like with him, he will tell you like Yovel is the most expensive clock I ever bought. It's because they pay me monthly, like he can buy a great clock every month. But at the same moment, I'm doing everything that he need to do. Like something happened, reach me out. You know that I can find everything in the world in 10 seconds that will fit him exactly what he need. From lawyers, from accountants, from finance people, from bank, from everything. And even if you one day will reach me for a fitness trainer, I know who to reach.
Yeah. Lightstone.
Yeah.
Lightstone.
That's exactly what
Lightstone.
But even for like if you will need like someone to sit in performance, like I know the right guy, and this is the biggest advantage of to be part of It's the Podcast, because we have community here. Like we're feeding each other, and that's great stuff. Because by the way, I want to call you to put on another big podcast that's coming in town in the January 22. So we're gonna talk about in the end of the podcast. But that's what we're doing. We're giving to our clients more than they even in the agreement, more than they ask, because we believe in everyone in one of our clients.
Yeah.
Like if someone will come to me tomorrow morning, what do you think about light?
Yeah.
Tell him, don't ask question, just pay and you will be okay.
I've already convinced 2 very good friends of mine, and I believe they're going to be for podcast 2. It's Liv and Mel, and they're with Babe Philosophy. I was recently on their podcast. It's live now, so you'll be able to go check it out. And that's called What is the Dark Masculine? And we're doing now we're going to be doing part 2, what is the dark feminine? And then we're going to do a part 3, which is integrating the dark masculine. And then part 4, integrating the dark feminine. And they have already signed up with you. And so it's a testament to the network effect.
Yeah. And again, that's when you're doing something that you believe the why, it will work. And again, let's talk about business. When I started a business in the first 3 months, I started in mid-February in 2025. Until May, I did $2,000 overall.
Yeah.
Nothing, even not to pay the rent.
Yeah.
Okay, overall. But I still believe in what I'm doing. I still believe in the action, and I did the action. Okay, there is I still working around 16 hours a day.
Yep.
But people need to understand that even if you think you're doing something good, you still need to work for that.
Yep.
You still need to make that happen. Is like even if you have the best startup in the world, it will not work if you will not make that work.
And I think importantly to what you're saying too, when I was running a company, a lot of people would always ask me, hey, how do you start a business? Blah, blah, blah. I usually would tell them, have another job that you're doing that pays your bills, have some sort of stability. And so you don't have to take money out of the mouth of your baby, which is whatever your new business is. And so I would just constantly reinvest the money that I was making from my old company back into my team members. That company ended up not working. That's okay. And that's just how business goes. But this concept of having a stable thing that you have and that you're learning from,
I agree.
it's so very important. And so a piece of advice that I would give, and I've been doing, giving this advice for 15 years to anyone who listens to me that wants to start entrepreneurship, have stable income from someplace else that is not your business. And that then allows your business to be not only just a passion project, but any income that it makes or profit, you then get to use that to play with. And think about it as play. It's not to pay your rent. It's not to pay your dog food. It's not to pay, whatever it is. It's literally you get to invest that back in and then hopefully hire new team members that also believe in your passion so you guys can then all win together.
Exactly. And that's a great point. Because a lot of people, what they're doing, they forget about the most important thing for the business is the assets of the business. Assets of business is the social media. Assets of business is the website. All that stuff that's important to reinvest and rebuild that and grow that as much as you can. Because in the end, views equal followers, followers equal leads, leads equal money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the end, when you're doing business, it's important to get, you need to keep the business alive. Doesn't matter how much money you make, you need money.
Yeah.
But as much as you reach to more people, as much you have more followers, as much as you have more leads, you have more clients that's working with you. Clients, friends, you can everyone can call it however they want. That's something that's really important to understand. And I will give a best marketing advice that people can give you is don't start doing marketing without building trust with the audience that you already have. Again, I say that don't put any penny on marketing of Meta campaign, Google campaign, everything before you have people that already trust you. When you start business, 5 first clients, give for free. Do it for free. Then get 70% off. Then 50% off until you get in the right price that you want. But you need first to get proof of concept that what you're doing is working,
and that you're good at it too. When I had been a consultant for a while, even while I was still writing and a published author, and people would hire me to consult with them for writing, entrepreneurship, whatever it is. But when I switched full time into coaching, I needed to make sure that those skills actually translated well. And so I went and I did that same system. Alex Hormozi has a very good version of this. I really appreciate it. So wise. He and his wife Leela are fantastic. And it's also then a great way to get testimonials too. I, in that period, really actually honed and refined my coaching style because it was different. When I was a consultant, it was usually one-off. I get paid pretty good, chunk of money to just talk to someone for 2 or 3 hours. I would have them, I'd bring all of your questions. You're only going to get this much time. And I'm not going to meet with you again, most likely. So get out of me what you need. But coaching is very different. And so from this perspective, having that on-ramp, as you're saying, okay, free and then 70% off, then 60% off, and whatever that is up to 100%, you then can find what your value is in the marketplace. And not only do you find that, you refine that by making your value higher by practicing. You then get better that you can then charge a premium later because you actually are worth that amount of money.
Agree. And that's a great point. And I will tell you another thing about entrepreneurship, that it's not easy, but it's simple. Okay? And I will explain it better. It's not easy because you can find yourself with ups and down all the time. Even if you are making $1 million a month and you have a client that paying you $500 that left you, you will still stab in the heart. That's how life works, and that's
super sucks. I always say it super sucks.
Yeah, it super sucks.
Super sucks.
Doesn't matter how much money you make, it will always be super suck. The other thing why it's simple, it's because there is system that already work. And as much as you don't think no, I'm genius, I'm gonna do whatever thing I think that's work. No, there is people that did it before you.
Yeah.
These people are going to do it after you.
Yeah.
Try to learn from the people that did it before you, because there is how many businessmen that making money in the world, like at least 10 million people.
There's a shit ton. Yeah.
There is enough.
For many, 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 many years. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's people that did it before you. There is so much like knowledge on the floor.
Yeah.
So you just need to use that and do it right. And I will say something about knowledge because that's connected. Knowledge is not power. Knowledge with action is power, because today you can get everything you want in ChatGPT in one button.
Yeah.
But if you don't doing action with that, doesn't matter how smart you are.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how much knowledge you can give, all the knowledge you can get ChatGPT as a chip in your brain.
Yeah.
If you don't doing action, it will never work.
It's worthless.
And
it's worthless.
It's worthless. And that's the way if you want to be a successful business. If you want to do something bigger in your life, you need to find the why. You need to give your product for free. You need to see that it's work. There is proof of concept. You need to believe in what you're doing. And only then, start selling that and building and expand the business.
I love it. So switching gears a little bit, in this podcast, we're going to talk a lot about the difference between spirituality and religion and cosmology. So these are three separate concepts. So religion can be viewed as a set of rules, a set of kind of ethos and ethical foundations that allow us to interact with the world in a measured way that we can understand. Spirituality is our own relationship with the seen and unseen worlds. If I close my eyes, it's all unseen. If I decalcify my pineal gland, more is now seen as well. That's a fluoride joke. And so when we then think of cosmology, that is the meta rules, not the religious rules, but the meta rules that govern our universe. That can be very confusing. And so one of the things that I will be asking all of my guests is what, and I'll frame it in this way, from this distinction of religion, spirituality, and cosmology, how do you orient to those? And a person doesn't have to have, I'm an Orthodox Catholic, or I'm a Vajrayana Buddhist for a religion. But it's like, what are the rules that you have for interacting with the world from a kind of a spiritual perspective? And then what is that felt sense that you have, your spirituality? And what then is your kind of larger cosmological view? Like what do you think is going on?
That's a great question. So me as a Jewish, I never was like really connected to the religions. I think one of the most open Jew that exists, but at the same moment, still important to me, the religions, because it's community, is a safe place to have, and it's people that have the same history like you, and I fought for the reason of the Jewish to be alive. Yeah. That's in a short about the religion. My way of praying is not need to be with, like, I never found myself enjoying when I'm like reading whatever in the Torah or in the Bible, or when you need to pray. I never found myself enjoying that. My way of praying is willing. Is poetry. Okay, I love there is a book of poetry and praise. It's well, I forgot to say his name, but he's a famous author and a famous actor as well. It's I need to find, I will put it in the show notes. Sure. But he really speak about like how you can say stuff and talk with yourself, and that need to be your praying. How you can write poetry, and that can.
Is he like a contemporary American?
Yeah, it's actor American. Yeah. It's amazing. He wasn't. I forgot his name.
He's the guy from. I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I also.
McCoy.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about.
I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah, he's great. The only quote of his that I remember from a movie is. He says, "We keep on getting older, but the girls keep staying the same age." Is it the same actor?
I think. And he wrote the book.
I do not.
Green Light. As well.
I don't subscribe to that philosophy, but that is the actor who said that.
And he say about something is really important, and he really declared in the Green Light book and one of his podcasts that he did with Modern Wisdom. He say, when he told his father that he doesn't want to go to law school, that he wants to be an actor. Like there was silence in the phone, and then his father told him, "Are you sure?" "Yes, sir. I'm sure." Go for it.
Yeah,
like just
good
do
dad.
Something big, and that's something that is important to everyone. Even when you like everything you're doing in life, entrepreneurship, everything, willing to do something big. And that's the praying. Everyone can look about it in any other way that he wants. When you praying, it's not like me coming back, God, please. No, it's like today, like when I waking up in the morning, maybe I'll wrap my feeling, but it's the action, and that's make me focus like 3-4 minutes of asking what I'm willing that will happen. Like I woke up one day in the morning and I was like willing, God, something in the universe, like I want to do something today that will be meaningful to my people.
Can I reflect back to you what I'm hearing just to kind of clarify it? And I think for my own clarification, then also for the listeners too. So to, your answer, if I'm understanding correctly, and please disagree with me and tell me if I'm wrong, if I'm not getting it. The religion aspect here then would be sitting on a foundation of Judaism, which is your genealogy and history, and quite literally what you fought to protect from being eradicated and destroyed, your hometown, just like be very clear. But within that framework is a much more spiritual approach of finding that deep connection with God, with divinity, with love, with some sort of higher power that you can access yourself, and also through a methodology. And this would then still be a religion, because religion is the methodology of that connection of prayer. And whether you're wrapping yourself in a sacred cloth, maybe holding a book or not, in bed, having that direct personal experience, and then that then transitions into the spirituality piece. What does that then? So as a coach, I like to use big fancy words. So the big fancy word here is psychosomatic. Okay, that means psyche, like the Greek word psyche, which means kind of like spirit and mind, but kind of like a qualitative essence of self. And then somatic means body. So psychosomatic means the felt body sense of that embodied spirit. So you are achieving that through the religion that you just mentioned. You are achieving the psychosomatic sense of the divinity through the practices. What does that feel like for you when you experience that?
That's a great question. It feels like I'm asking and I'm guiding myself what I want to achieve.
Okay.
Because the others part of people, they have only dreams. Okay, I wrote a book. I didn't launch that yet, but it's called The Way of the 1%.
Okay.
And my way is like I call it fucking golden.
Okay. If you want an early reader, I've published many. I was a professional editor for a long time.
It's in Hebrew.
Oh fuck! Well, you got to teach me Hebrew then.
I'm gonna translate it in English, but I always say dreams. Like people talk about a dream. Like most of the people that even dream, but when someone dream, you stay only in dream. And then there is the goal. People say dream without goals, only dreams. But then when you put in goals, that's 20% of the people. But to do from the goal to the action, it's 0.something% of the people.
Sure.
And that's what is important. So while I'm speaking, while I'm praying, what I'm aiming myself, I'm understanding the action that I need to do. And I always say to people, put a timeline, okay? Putting a timeline, my goal is to be here, okay? My ways will be like that. My way will be like that, like that, maybe down.
Not all who wander are
lost.
lost.
As much as I putting, that's the big goal. Let's say the big goal this year to reach to 1 billion people. And I put like by months, 100, 200, 300, stuff like that. If I'm aiming and I'm see that I'm on the right path, on the right dates that I put, I know that I'm doing something right. But if I'm seeing I'm missing everything and I know that I need to change my way, but the goal is staying the same goal. The big goal never change. My big goal is to change the world. Okay, now I can put a bunch of milestones on the way to the big goal, and I need to understand that my way can change. But the goal will change. And I think that's exactly why I call the way of the 1%. Because the people in the 1% in the world, the 1% successful in everything that they're doing, is they have the same goal. But the way always can change. I really, I am able to change my way, to change stuff that I'm doing, because I don't know everything. And I always say, you don't know nothing, Jon Snow. If Jon Snow was the king of a movie, that one, like everyone saw that, Game of Thrones.
Right.
If he didn't know nothing and the movie and the series was about him, so who the fuck I am to know something? I am not.
He really missed out with that redhead, man. He had an opportunity to. That one snow scene. She was like, "You could have had me." So I love how you frame that. And it's so funny. It was like the perfect pitch for the Stone Protocol. I'm going to just kind of like lay down a couple concepts that may help you conceptualize. You've got it, but it'll just give some language to that. And we'll come back to the psychosomatic felt body sense because I think that's cool. But I really want to touch on this. So I've already recorded here in the studio a couple of videos based around this trajectory, benchmarks, and velocity. You weren't here for those recordings, and so it's almost perfect. So what you are describing here is a perfect like emanation of these three concepts that I have. So you have the ultimate goal, and that is like your ultimate direction that you want to go change the world. But that is a very large, it's a very big, like there's a lot of ways to do that. And so to be able to get there, and even if it's 1 million views, you have to like go and gather a lot of resources along the path, which can be a meandering path if you look at it by your actual direction is moving, right? So I call those benchmarks. I think you maybe even use that term. And I also have written a book about this. And so you have these benchmarks. Your direction is based on what you are trying to achieve in the moment. So let's say you want to get 1 billion views, you need to get, I don't know, like 35 clients that are able to have whatever the math is, right? Yeah. And so you then have to open up a new location in SLC, Salt Lake, which they just did. It looks fucking gorgeous. There's one here, there's one in Denver, one in Salt Lake. Where's the next one?
So I have now an option to open in Chicago.
In Chicago. Chicago's great. I've got family there. Yeah. So I know a lot of people in Chicago.
That will be a good.
Okay, cool.
I will let you know if it will happen in April or May.
Okay, very cool. So Chicago. So there's literally the trajectory is changing there. You also need to have this thing that I call velocity. And velocity is what you're talking about of actually doing the work, the ability to move through this, labyrinth to get to that final goal. And creating a choice-making matrix for yourself of knowing how to choose well, which benchmark to do first. It's kind of like if you're playing a video game like StarCraft and you want to mine different minerals on the map. I don't know if you've ever played StarCraft. I'm a big gamer. So like maybe there's some, yellow minerals down here, which you can mine for like, you get 2x return, but it's in this unsafe location. You need to have more forces to be able to actually go out there. So you're going to wait to go do that, but you may send a scout. So your velocity may bring you over to the one in Salt Lake City first. But to be able to know how to set that up, you need to really understand what your personal direction is. And so what I'm hearing you say is that you have a felt body sense of that. And now I'm going to make a cognitive leap, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. When you pray, you're saying, okay, this is what I want. And maybe you're asking for some sort of help, some sort of direction, some sort of communion. I don't mean in a Christian way with like taking the Eucharist. Yeah. I mean communion to actually commune, to commingle with divinity of where should I go? How should I do this? What is the best path for me? So how do you then bridge that gap with prayer into the real life experience that you're talking about now?
That's good. Good question. I hope so I'll be able to answer. It's a really good question. So it's connected to what I said before, but there is more deep stuff inside that. And I will connect that to the why as well. Like I think when you have the why, it can be connected to the praying, because I know why I'm doing what I'm doing. When people ask me about God, like to be honest, I don't know if he exists or not.
Oh, it's totally real.
I don't know.
I'm telling you, it's totally real.
So like that's good because
there's a bunch of them.
So so I know that there is only like people say it's only one. So
there's a big one, and then there's a bunch of other little ones.
So they asked me that. So I say I don't know, to be honest, because I didn't have in my life like age experience that I felt that happen. Like I've been big stuff, but nothing that was like I felt like maybe God was involved. Maybe the other God was, maybe 100 of them was involved in the same moment. Yeah. But I don't know. That's my question. I cannot tell you if to believe or not, because I don't know.
And that's why we have to come back to that, what's called the psychosomatic, the body felt sense of how does it land in your body. So just like when you are sitting across from a potential client and you have that gut feeling, you're like, man, I don't know, something doesn't feel right here. And that's your body. Like, and we can use, Hindu language, your chakras are literally telling you like, fucking danger, bro. Do not trust this person. It's the same when working with divinity. Now we can gate lock ourselves to only communicate, in my direct personal experience, with good divinity. And there's a whole litany of them. There's also bad divinity. We can call them demons. We can call them whatever, like unattached burdens from an internal family systems perspective. So when you have that felt body sense, you're wrapped in your shawl or what is the name of the cloth?
Tzitzit.
Yeah, cool. There's no way I'm going to be able to pronounce that, so I'm not going to try. Like that can be viewed as a magical garment, right? It can help focus the mind, bring consciousness together. It's my understanding, right? That is the purpose of this. It is like a holy item for you, right? And so when you're in that space, that accentuates that feeling, so you know that you are communing with that correct aspect of divinity that is also self, that is simultaneously inside of you and simultaneously outside of you.
I agree.
Yeah. And so when you are in that space, like I'm like what is that like for you? I just love this shit. We're gonna be talking about this with a lot of different people on the podcast to get different perspectives, and then we'll talk about the cosmology of like, how do you think that works? But first, we need to look at, how does that work for you first?
There is a Viktor Frankl said, between stimulus and response there is space.
Yes.
In that space we have the place to hold our action or something. I don't remember exactly how it's worked, but I really love that, because one of our clients, 30 minutes, his goal is just to take every 30 minutes, and you say a guy getting suicide, his goal to chance for 40 minutes in his lifetime, and then he saved thousands of people every year. But what is speaking over there is that you always have a space to hold your response, and doesn't matter what's happened or what you're feeling. Take the seconds to understand. Take a second to aim yourself. Take the seconds to, I feel that something great happening here,
right? And
then respond,
right?
Because when you're thinking, when you're even praying, when you're aiming yourself, your response will be more fit for what you want to get. And I think that's like a space that exists. It's God, it's God's, it's you, it's however you want to describe that. But in the end, there is one thing in life that we can control, and it's what we have here.
Sure.
Beside that, we can't control nothing. You cannot control, maybe you and me right now, we go outside the studio,
right,
and boom, like a truck will go inside the building and kill us. We cannot control that. Stuff like that can happen.
We can influence, but we don't have control.
Yeah. But the only thing we have control is our perspective about life. We can be
and our choices, the choices that we make,
exactly,
and how we choose to orient to those choices, and that's the direction, how we
that's
choose.
Perspective, and like if when something happens to you, you can choose how to act,
right?
But this is the space that you need to take for a second for you, because when, like, let's say you fight with your girl, or she did something that really pissed you off, your immediate reaction, like, I'm your father, shut the fuck up, follow what I'm saying. But then you're holding yourself. My goal is to teach my daughter to be like a doll, to learn how to act by herself, to follow her heart, to do stuff that she believes in. So if I will come and offend her, or I'll be so upset, maybe it will not be the right move. Maybe if I will tell her, baby, that's what you did, it's unacceptable.
Sure.
Why? Because you're hurting other people. So you teach her how to look about stuff in different ways. Like when you take a really violent person to train martial arts, you're learning what is the meaning of a punch. Learning that a punch can hurt someone. You're learning when to use him and if to use him. So all that stuff is like our response to what happened to us. And that's the only thing that we can control is what is here.
So this then leads into the third point of this question, which is then, what is your cosmological view? So that's your lived experience. I don't disagree with you. What then is your cosmological view? How do you perceive the world's like laws? As in, how does that framework fit into the rest of dynamics? So we can say like, this would then,
you speak lost when you lost something.
What's that?
When you lost something.
Kind of like, what does that rest upon? There's a joke in fantasy. I think it's Terry Pratchett. It's like there's the universe, and then on the bottom of the universe is a turtle, and they're like, well, what's below that? And he goes, it's just turtles all the way down. And so that would be the cosmology, that we sit on a turtle. It's a joke for a fantasy novel, but within a Christian perspective, there's a Christian God, there's a bunch of seraphim and, angels and blah, blah, blah. And everyone is like saying that he's great. And I disagree with this. I'm not saying that that's wrong, but that's certainly not the totality of existence. I'm sure that there is some sort of Christian God, and he has created a bunch of very strange creatures to sing for him. Why he wants that? I mean, I don't know. Sounds a little narcissistic to me, but I'm being very honest. But from this perspective, we can create for ourselves a facsimile or an understanding of how the universe works.
Mm-hmm.
And I have my own opinion on this. I coach on it. I've got charts and graphs, and people pay me money to be like, what do you think's going on? And we then come to a version of that for them. And so I always ask people, like, what is your cosmology? How does the universe, you've described how you do it, how you play the game, how you pray. Now it's, what are the rules behind that? And not everyone thinks about that. And as a game designer, I used to, run a company where we would create what's called OGL, Open Gaming License for Dungeons and Dragons. And so we were not affiliated with Dungeons and Dragons, but we would make D&D books under this gaming license, an open gaming license. And so I would create the rule sets for these universes. And we were quite successful for a time. When you think about the rules of a game, and if you know how to change them appropriately, you then can understand how players interact with each other. We are the players of this game called life, right? And like Avicii says, the game of life, the prize is love, right? Okay, sweet. Let's all try to win together. Hence why we're working together. What do you think those rules are specifically around God, divinity, prayer, like magic? And this is something that we're going to talk a lot about on this podcast.
That's so I don't think there is rules.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. Because every person seeing that in a different way.
Sure.
And in the end is everything can happen to you. Mm-hmm. And you can use everything that you say, magic, gods, praying.
Sure.
You can be like depend on something else, and that's okay as well.
Sure.
My sister always telling me that I am living in a good movie.
Okay.
And I ask her, what does mean? My sister, she is one of the most smartest female I ever met, people that I ever met in my life. She is, two of my sisters are my best friend. Mm-hmm. And she told me, you all your life got so many challenges, but you always was like smiling and saying, how are we feeling? I'm feeling amazing.
Right.
And I can wake up in the morning every day. I can't complain.
Right.
And I got times that I didn't.
So the question would be why? Why do you have that orientation?
I'm going to touch it in a second. Because when we're able to wake up in the morning, open our eyes, we already win. Because I have so many friends that lost their life in early age. Okay? So I feel like I have a privilege to be alive. I feel that God, when he told David that he's going to be a king, he put Goliath in front of him. I think God will put so many challenges in front of me, and I need to beat them.
Yeah.
To be the king I want to be, or to be what I want to be.
So that would be a rule set. So that would be rules within this. And I'm not agreeing or disagreeing. I would probably agree with you. We'd need to clarify it for me to be like, yes, but
it's hard for me to speak about the stuff in English. So
totally understand. Totally okay. So the rule would then be, I believe we live in a universe where there is a higher power that puts Nephilim. My understanding is that Goliath was a Nephilim. He was a human fallen angel hybrid, much like Gilgamesh. And there were many back then. The Book of Giants is fantastic. You should I don't want to tell you what to do, but I encourage people to read the Book of Giants and the Book of Enoch. So we'll put a proverbial dragon, he was a Nephilim, in front of the proverbial David, and that if you rise to the occasion, you have the ability to succeed there. But that would be a rule set. And when we adopt that direction towards and kind of orientation towards life, that is like a fundamental qualitative essence of existence, then we can play the game assuming that if we then do what we're supposed to do, and I call that choosing well, we will be rewarded by those good choices. Exactly. If we don't do the work, maybe Goliath steps on us, but maybe if we get our slingshot pretty good, we can get Goliath.
And that's exactly a point that I always touch. And I say, I don't know if God putting that for us.
Mhm.
Whatever is happening, it will come. But at the same moment, I always say to people, you need to be in life. There is a moment that you need to be and think a little bit like a stupid person.
There you
And I
go.
will explain it a little bit better. When you're getting good advice for life, anything that's a good advice that you think, well, that's good. Don't now think if I need to use that or not. Just try that. Be stupid for a second. Do whatever that you heard that to do.
Yeah.
Try that. And if it will not work, at least try.
Yeah.
Get experience.
Yeah.
You did something great. If it's work, amazing. You got something that you like as a
Yeah.
tool.
Yeah.
And it can be in everything in life. You can get a sentence. Like we can speak right now about if there is a challenge, say good. I'm taking a challenge. So
Yeah.
every time you have a challenge, just say good.
Yeah.
I'm ready for the challenge. Bring me the challenge.
Yeah.
Just say that. Be stupid enough for a second just to say, I will do whatever I heard if it sounds like a good advice.
Right.
And I will not like now rethink about that. I will feel if no, just try that.
Yeah.
If you think it's a good advice, just try that. After that, you can decide. You win some, you lose some, but at least you try.
I have a concept. It's don't make any non-reversible like bets, or basically don't do anything that will like, don't bet the farm on anything.
Mhm.
So long as we don't over leverage and don't bet against our future, then that can work out perfectly. So we can hopefully have a high yield return with a low risk, because someone might go all in on a whim and then that may not work out for them. And I've seen people do that in business and it then does not work out for them.
Mhm.
But if we can trust our instincts around moving forward, now this is now part of my rule set of cosmology of saying, you know what? Sometimes we just have to take that risk. And sometimes, and for me, after my cancel culture experience, after losing a company, I mean, it's been like a 3-year journey of just healing. And then having my ex-wife try to, do a whole nother cancel culture thing. And it was so painful, but now coming out of that, I am so much stronger now. And truly, like I regret some of the choices that I made, but I don't regret the learning that I had there. And I also believe in the things that I did and that I'm not a bad person.
It's never too late.
Exactly. And it's never too late to also learn and then continue to move forward. And so it is good to then pivot and move. I think we could probably talk for a long time. I want to be mindful of everyone's schedules. And it's the first podcast. And so it's probably good to end on a fun high note. What would you say are you the most inspired about? We just had New Year's and it's just solstice, winter solstice. What are you the most inspired about moving forward into this new calendar year? What are you so fucking excited about?
Wow. So many stuff. First, I'm
working with Lightstone is the highlight of 20.
No. It's true. Like I was ready to say like working with my clients that already have.
Yeah.
Because I love like I'm trying to be in the studio as much as I can.
Yeah.
But the same moment I'm growing and I need to put people. But to sit and listen to podcasts and to get something, as I say, I'm trying to do so many stuff that I'm getting from podcast. And that's something I always love. The same moment to keep doing what we're doing. I mean, we don't have a full year for the business. Only in 1 month for now, exactly 1 month.
So
we're
wild.
gonna have 1 year for the business. So to finish 2026 in a knowledge that we already almost finished 2 years for the business, to see where we're gonna be there, and to get the 1 billion views that I want to get. Like my goal never was money. Like money will come if you're doing something that you believe in.
It's very true.
But like to finish 2026 and we have AI program that's telling us exactly how many views all our clients got from all the videos produced and podcasts and everything, to see that the number there is like looking longer than my ID, I will be like,
do you have it like tabulated out to be able to tell you exactly what you're going to get?
So it's seeing exactly who was our clients according to what we're telling them. And then only podcasts that's produced in our studios, we're telling you exactly the views. And that's like, for me to see that number is like getting me so excited, because if we change 0.01 people that saw something and took something for themselves, we literally make the world a better place in 1 year. So what will happen in 10 years from now? And that's something that people don't understand, and it's good to think. Like, don't see the process in 1 year. Maybe in 1 year you achieve X, but what will happen in 10 years of progress? In 10 years from now, I hope so that every person in the world will see our content at least once.
That's amazing. I love that. Yeah, I love that. And so it's funny, I'm like so not a yoga guy, and yet I'm a yoga teacher, certified yoga instructor. I've been doing yoga for fucking forever. I'm covered in Sanskrit. I have a giant Om sign tattooed on my, I don't even see
It's
it.
like you said, you never went to the gym.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm like the most yoga. I feel like I can speak about yoga. I'm literally covered in Sanskrit, the Pancha Mahabhuta. And so when I say the word namaste, the best joke here in Boulder is that you'll have someone driving a Prius and it'll say namaste on it, and they cut someone off in the Whole Foods parking lot and like flip them off, you know, and they've got namaste on their bumper sticker. And it's like, what the fuck, man? So in what you said for your excitement for this new year, solar year, of podcasting right now, the thing that is like lighting me up so much is this podcast, and is this new chapter for me too. And so to have the Venn diagram overlap, or the Visky's Pisces with you and your team, is so exciting for me. One of the things that I learned from my ex-wife, it was such a learning experience. She had this ability to taste opportunity. And at first I didn't really understood what that was. She'd be like, no, Light, we're going to do this. Like, trust me, this will work. And I was like, how do you know? She's like, and she was 5 years older than me. And she had this magic ability that was called being 40. I was 35. And, you know, I was like, okay, cool. Like, you've been very successful. Like, we'll try this. Every single time that she had this instinct, it worked out. And it didn't mean that life worked out always, but these things would always work out. And eventually I got the taste of this thing, this qualitative essence. And it was some weird magical ability. And I have that with not just only you guys in general, you guys have that, but also us working together, and about this podcast. So for you, the viewer, you get to experience this, what they're building, what we're all building together. And I'm pumped. And so many people talk about making the world a better place, and that's so nebulous and it's so ethereal, and it's not really concrete.
Mm-hmm.
And so the ways that I am going to choose to interact in Venn diagram and Visky's Pisces with you, I don't know if you're familiar, it's a sacred geometry where it's two circles overlapping, with you guys, is when you listen to this podcast, I want you to walk away with a feeling in your heart that you can feel your heart larger on the inside than the outside. And I talk about this in my coaching program, the Stone Protocol, and we do this in the beginning of every single one of our one-on-one and group coaching calls. And we ground in on this. And I like to use a lot of jokes. I feel like I'm also very punny. And so the toroidal field of our bodies is like a TARDIS. And for those of you who know what a TARDIS is, it's from Doctor Who. Do you know Doctor Who?
Yeah.
Yeah. So bigger on the inside than the outside. And so if you can have that feeling that your heart, your physical heart, it can be your heart chakra, whatever you want to say, larger on the inside than the outside, that means that we are literally sending energy out from our hearts. And that can be viewed as nebulous, or it can be viewed as like really fucking concrete. Okay, cool. I'm sending out love light from my heart in an energetic way.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is how I would like to make just one metric of success, the world a better place. And so as we do more podcasts, we're going to be recording a fuck ton in the studio. I'm so excited. We've already done a bunch. That qualitative psychosomatic experience, as we've described, feeling that energy larger on the inside than the outside, because that means you're a white hole of love, sending love out.
Amen.
And that's something you can hold in your head and in your heart. And so
I love that.
And so thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, bro.
That was great podcast.
Yeah, amazing podcast. We'll do more. Yeah. It's a pleasure to work with you guys, and I'm so excited.
And to the listeners, be tuned for the Stone Protocol. It's gonna be amazing. I can promise that.
All right, we'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much.